How ready do you feel for the whole play calling piece of this, and how much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, really excited to finally get started and play an opponent with our guys. So far we've had a good week of preparation, but these first games are always very important, So really looking forward to getting off to a good start.
What about the fact that the first game is against the Patriots and Bill Belichick and everything that they bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing, arguably the greatest coach of all time, and they have a fantastic roster with great pieces. So it'll definitely be a challenge, and we're looking forward to that challenge. And I know our guys are excited to go out there and be ready to play.
Do you find that you have to temper yourself a little bit, because obviously everybody in this profession has tremendous respect for Bill, but you have to be cognizant of putting that aside?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is you want to always have a high level of competitiveness, and you want to go out there and compete regardless of who the opponent is. And I think that's the mindset that you should have going into any game, regardless of who you're playing. But obviously it's always exciting times anytime you get a chance to play against great players, and I think our guys are looking forward to that challenge.
Bill's famous for.
I'm sorry, Nick's been outspoken about in the past 2 years how the passing game goes through AJ, Devontae, Dallas. Throughout the course of the game, will you be cognizant of target distribution, of who's getting what catches and whatnot?
Yeah, I think you need to always have a feel of how teams are playing you. I think adaptability is important, and just how quickly we can find out how we're being attacked defensively, and what we can do to counterpunch and be ready to make our adjustments as needed. But fortunately, we have some really good players that can all do really, really special things with the ball in their hands, and we just got to find ways to get it to them with a chance to do that.
That Bill is famous for being able to take away a team's best weapon and devising a game plan specifically to that. Have you guys had that conversation? You have a lot of guys that they could choose. Have you had that conversation this week? Do you think there's going to be one guy they're going to focus on?
Well, who knows? I mean, these first games are always tricky. There's not a lot to go on in terms of, each team or each year presents its own different challenges, and each team is different. So, I think teams are, using this first week to really kind of find out their identity and what they have in terms of matchups. But for us, we just have to be ready to adapt. I think these first games, in particular, are really about how fast you can get to your adjustments, you can get to your answers, and give your guys an opportunity to go out there and do what they do best.
Like for you, seeing Jalen's star rise to where he's become one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, given that you've known him since he was 4 years old?
Yeah, it's obviously in a very exciting time for him. I'm sure he's ready to get into a routine of playing games and get into his weekly routine throughout the course of the season. But it is nice that he's been able to consistently perform, consistently get better at his craft, and his mindset has not changed in terms of how he attacks every single day, the purpose that he has, the passion that he plays with, and his desire for becoming the best player that he can possibly be.
What ways have you seen the team sort of take on his personality, if it has?
Yeah, I think he mentioned this the other day, but that we have so many great leaders on this team, and Jalen is obviously one of those leaders. And I think anytime you have guys who are your best players set that type of example in terms of their work ethic, their habits of how they conduct themselves, how they get themselves ready to play on a consistent basis, I think it just permeates throughout the entire organization and the team. So, to me, it's been no surprise to see him kind of evolve into this, because you see the daily deposits that he puts in every single day to be the best that he can be.
When it comes to the running back rotation, do you have an idea of how that's going to go, or even you trying to see what it looks like?
Yeah, for sure. We obviously talk about that. Coach Singleton does a great job of getting all those guys the reps that they need. to be ready to go out there and perform. But it is a little bit of feel as well, and I talked about adaptability and just trying to create different matchups. So a little bit of it depends on flow of the game, but, we're confident in all of those guys that they can go out there and help us.
Have DeAndre and Rashad kind of showing you something this summer that maybe you didn't know about them or didn't expect?
Well, we really liked both of those players, and they've done a fantastic job of coming in and getting acclimated to the system and how we do things, and they've provided great energy and a great spark to that room along with Kenny and Boston. So, we feel really, really confident in their abilities and what they bring to the table.
The unpredictability on defense you talked about in week one, does that change the level of how much you want to script the beginning of the game on offense?
Not necessarily. I think it's just, how quickly can you identify what's going on? And, because every team in the NFL is going to have new wrinkles week one and stuff that they've been working on that they haven't shown. So we just have to be ready, and trust our rules, trust our assignments, and be ready to execute at a high level.
In terms of the new handoff rule, how much did it affect what you guys did last year as opposed to this year, and what challenges, if any, does it provide to
The new what rule? I'm sorry.
handoff rule, where you can only hit the handoff parallel or behind now? How much does that change what you guys did last year versus what you guys?
Yeah, it hasn't really changed much for us at all.
Nick was talking about that adaptability earlier this week and the fact that, and he specifically mentioned Jalen and Jason about being sort of a luxury because they can handle things live fire. Is that a luxury for you as the play caller to know that those guys, if they see something, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Kelce has played so much football and he's seen so much defense. So that definitely is a luxury in terms of being able to handle unscouted looks. And, you're going to get a bunch of unscouted looks in week one. And that's, guys have been working on week one for a really long time. So there's a lot of things that we have to be ready for that probably aren't on tape. But, I think that just goes back to having the trust in the system, trust in your players to go out there and execute with great details and fundamentals.
We saw last year talking about surprise kind of game plan was that you guys got blitzed a lot, and a lot of those blitzes the line wasn't prepared for, and Jalen had to scramble a lot. How did he progress, and it's also the offensive line and kind of being able to diagnose blitzes and how to pick them up last year?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to being able to trust your rules and trust your eyes and what you're seeing, and then just really diagnosing how you're getting played defensively. So much of that is done, in the week leading up to the game, but there's always going to be new wrinkles, new adjustments that show up on game day that you have to be prepared for, and you have to be able to show that you can handle and that you have answers for.
What's the process?
How much have you leaned on? Sean talked yesterday about how much of the help Matt Patricia has been this week. Have you leaned on him as well?
Yeah, we turn over every stone, whatever we can do to try to get ourselves ready to play. And having Matt here, he's been awesome. He's had so many different roles throughout his career. So, it almost feels like everybody in the organization can kind of, pick his brain in terms of whatever their specific role may be, because he's probably done it. So, any time that you have peers that you can learn from and learn from their experiences, I think is really, really important. I think it's really, really helpful, when you have a setup like that.
Following up on Bill's question before, what's your view on game scripts and scripting the first X amount of plays?
Yeah, there's a, I always go back to it being kind of part art, part science in terms of there's certain stuff that you want to get looked at early, but at the end of the day, I think it's always going to come down to, how fast you can adapt and adjust and diagnose what's going on in terms of calling the game. So, we put in a lot of work in terms of trying to get the players in the best position possible to execute what they do well. And, that opening script is definitely a part of that.
What's the more
like, once you do diagnose what the defense is trying to do to you on the sideline, like who's collaborating on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the entire staff. I mean, we're all collaborating with each other, with our position groups, and with the players. You know, I think that the players in that regard are sometimes your greatest resource in terms of, you know, what they're seeing on the field, because, you know, you come back and you got the iPad, you can look through the pictures and stuff, but, you know, it's still, sometimes there's a difference in looking at that and then it happening in real time. So, you know, it takes great communication, it takes a great operation to be able to be on the same page with the staff, with the players, so you can get problems answered and corrected in game.
When it comes to rotational positions, so I guess back to running back mainly for you, but are you going to let Jamal handle the rotation as far as that, or do you guys come in with a set plan, or is that, you said part feel, is that?
Yeah, it's both. It's both, and you know, I think a lot of it depends on, you know, how the game is going as well, in certain matchups that we want to try to create offensively. But Jamal is an excellent coach, and he has a great feel for his room, and you know, I think for us is being able to find that balance of keeping those guys fresh, creating the matchups that we need to create, and riding the hot hand. So I think all three of those things really play a part in that rotation as the game moves along.